Okay, in this lesson we're going to actually work on finishing up the major part of these feet here. As you can see, I duplicated this one plate over here to the other side, and you can also see that the concept mesh, this toe is way off in terms of direction. So I'm going to stick with what actually is correct. And what I want to do in this lesson really fast is kind of work on the major parts of the toes, the parts that are actually underneath these plates. And I need to kind of create basically a little cylinder here and dig in some, extract some pieces, maybe dig in some cuts, and also create this little receptor for that piston. I'm going to call it a piston, even if it's not. I have no idea. But so let's just create a cylinder and go from there. I'm going to turn off my little main mesh here. I'm just going to append that same polygon cylinder that we've had. And let's go to the camera and find them. Hit the Alt key and select them. It's a little shortcut. And I'm just going to grab this guy and bring him down. I actually want this to be, facing exactly the way it's facing. I want it to be kind of facing forward here. This is not really so much like a joint in that sense, so much as it's the actual piece. So you would think if it was going to be a rotation joint, it would be rotating the opposite way, but that's not what I'm using this for. This is kind of the connector, the main part of the toe actually. So I'm going to slide this in here, and obviously this needs to be scaled down just a touch. But I don't want to scale it down too much. I do want this to be, a fairly thick coil, essentially. What I do need to do now is subdivide this a couple times. And I'm not concerned about the resolution at this point, because I can always decimate this later on. Let's go to my move brush here and just move this back a little bit. All right. Again, yeah, I'm not going to let myself worry too much about the actual shape. We're going to see very little of this when you actually think about it, so it's okay. I could also just clip this if I need to. Let's just bring this down a bit here. Okay, I want this to kind of feel like it's a heavy thing. Now, first thing I want to do is give myself a nice little receptor here for that guy, for that little piston. I keep calling it a piston. I keep calling it that. Before I do that, though, I need to subdivide this one more time. So I have 131,000 faces. Again, in ZBrush world, it's not a big deal, but it will be a big deal when we bring it into something like Maya to render it if we can. So we are going to decimate this later on. But all I want to do is go to my trim hole brush and kind of raise up like a little port for this. And it's really important that the camera angle is right, because the trim hole brush works in conjunction with the camera angle, as most of them do. So I'm going to hold down the Alt key so I'm raising something out and not pushing something in. Maybe I want to make this a little bit more visible. Trying to get it so that I see the bottom of that circle. So the question is, what's the best angle for that? No, I guess come up here a little bit here. Let's just bring this like from this angle. And all right. Now again, don't worry too much about the edges. Well, we can fix that if we want to, but I'm not too concerned. That's actually pretty good. And now I'm just going to use the regular version and dig in. And that's going to be where this receives the piston. I'm going to bring everything back here so we can kind of see where we end up. And that's pretty good. Again, the concept mesh is just that. It's just a guideline. And as you saw, it is very often not at all accurate in terms of where things have to go. So this is a little off. So let's go rotate tool and just rotate it around a little bit. Not a problem. All right. So that's going to receive the thing coming from here. It's going to just come straight from there to there. So the angle might be a little off, but again, it's supposed to bend, so we're good to go. Now, in terms of the actual particulars of this, I do want to let's just cut this off a little bit here. I want this to be a little bit less silly in terms of how it moves up. So my clip curve, move it in place, and cut that off. Now it might be a little bit imperfect, but I think it's all right. So inside here, let's just little things, little extractions that might make this look cool, where we can dig in some pieces too. So go to my mask. I'm gonna go to my mask curve here, and hold down Control, click, and drag. Oh, it's going the wrong way. So let's try that. Oops, let's redo that. Let's draw this the opposite way here. Control, click, and drag. Double tap Alt. Double tap Alt again. So now I have this mask like this. I could, I could just invert this and maybe, what's that word? Deflate it? Let's try that. Let's just try deflating it. See how that works. I'll sharpen my mask real fast and then deflate it and just kind of push it in. And you see what that does. That kind of gives us this little bit of a thing. Got some artifacting there. Seems like I must have missed some of that. So let's go to my mask tool and make sure that all those little pieces are colored in. You see there are some outlying faces that were being resistant. We can't have that. We cannot have resistant faces. Let's try and get my camera angle where I want it to be. All right, so let's invert that. Let's try that again. Let's deflate it. Okay, maybe we'll just go here and just smooth out the inset a little bit. And we'll smooth that a little bit. Again, it doesn't need to be beautiful or perfect, but we still want to like it. Just a little bit of a thing. Let's give ourselves something else to play with here. Let's get rid of that. And get our mask tool here. Bring our mouse size down. Let's go to our mask. What do we have? Mask circle on here. I don't want mask circle. Let's have a mask rectangle here and just drag across. Goes through both sides, which is fine. And let's just really a little tiny extraction we might do. Maybe I might give us a little bit more here to play with. Okay, and then I'll go to my mask curve and demask some of this. See, how should we have this look here? Control Alt, that, demask that, and Control Alt, demask that. Yeah, that's not so bad. A little something different. And I'll hit the. I'll go to extract. Make sure the thickness is way small, like that. Nice. Just a little bit of a thing. Nothing fancy. But let's select this guy anyway, and just trim him up a little bit. So let's go to our clip curve, and really fast, just trim him. I missed. I knew that was going to happen. Okay. Do I need to do this again? Sure, why not? The clip curve is really kind of addictive after a while, just because it's really fun. Bring this up here, tap tap, bring it over, and then hold down Alt, get rid of that. Lovely. And that's all we need. So little something to add on there. Again, you can always add more things if you want to. For example, because I have a sickness. I'm going to go back to my mask curve here and draw. Oh, going the wrong way again. Draw another version here. Grab that, and this I am going to extract. So I'm going to extract again and accept. Select this guy. Trying to select this guy. Okay, fine. I'll do it the old-fashioned way. And there is our little extraction. I'm going to go to, once again, our clip curve tool. Clip. Just a little thing. Again, does it have a function? Yes, its function is to be there, and it does that very, very well. So we have our little cylinder, which is kind of the starting point for our guy here. And let's just one more little thing. I'm going to go to my mask tool, mask rectangle, click and drag a little rectangle here, and just deflate that a bit. I just want to. Oh wait. I have to invert the mask first. That was the problem. Let's do that. Just to add a little something extra there and smooth it out a little bit, just to kind of give it another little bit of added visual. It might catch the light or something. Okay, so That's one piece. I'm going to use that same piece on these two sides. Now, with regard to the piston, or whatever you want to call it, we can create one. I believe there's an insert mesh brush, I think in machine parts, perhaps. There's a piston. I thought there was some, yeah, piston here. You see they have different pistons you can choose from. I'm going to create my own. So let's do that really fast here. Let's create a quick little cylinder piston guy. We're going to append that same cylinder. This cylinder is doing good work for us today. And let's find him. There he is. And bring it down down here. Let's go to our, I may have moved it too soon. Let's go to our size here. And let's make it bigger in Z. Yeah, I moved it too soon. That's okay. And I'm going to make it smaller in the other two axes. That was rotate. That's why that got goofy. That's actually pretty fun though. We should try it sometime. Okay, so let's just make this nice and narrow. I just want the proportions to be good. We'll change the actual, the actual honest to goodness shape, size. I mean, when we get down here, but just to bring this size down, take some time to bring this size down. All right, and let's just knock this guy down some more. Okay. Probably not perfect yet, but we'll get there. I'll move this guy into position. I definitely want this to be thinner. So I'm going to scale this down even more. There we go. Much better. I want this to be thinner, and then parts of it will make thicker with some inflation. All right, so let's go to our rotate tool, and let's put this guy into basic position here. Now I don't know from this angle, I might not be where I am. Yeah, I'm nowhere near. That's okay. Now first, before we get too far involved, I probably should keep this guy straight up and down as much as possible for the sake of the selections we're going to be doing to make the piston a piston. So if you're at home and doing this, don't do what I just did. But let's I should think ahead sometimes. What I'm going to do is give us kind of two different, two variations here on thickness. And I can do that very simply. I'm going to go to our mask. Let's go to our mask rectangle tool. Click and drag to about maybe here. Let's sharpen our mask. Make sure we got all the guys we want. And let's just invert that and go to inflate and make it bigger. Now you can see here we have it kind of moving up with that, which makes sense. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to group masked. So now we have two different groups. And this will kind of give me a little bit more control. And now I also want to go to group loop. I want to, oops, no I don't. Let's grab just this guy. I want to get an edge loop here at the bottom. And now I want to just grab this and go to my inflate. Inflate it up and bring our guy back. That's more what I'm looking for here. Except that I think I must have missed the top part here. Look at the top part just went away. No, it's part of a different group. Interesting. Let's fix that. So let's make sure that our mask is, keep hitting the wrong button, is not applying to that. And let's group masked again. Group masked. Okay. Get rid of the mask. Get rid of this guy. Making sure our top is still there. that was weird. Let's inflate this a little bit. Bring this guy back. Alright, now we have that situation again. So, boy oh boy, this is just going to be the end of me. Edge loop. Right here. To kind of tie that off. Alrighty, so now I want to make sure I mask all this here. Actually, I just want to get rid of this group. Go away group. And now I'm going to group visible. No, see, that went away too, for goodness sakes. Let's go to auto groups, and I'm just going to just hide this guy. Let's go to my select rectangle here and hold down Control and Shift and Alt and get rid of those faces, hide them just for now. And now I'm going to simply inflate this part. This should not have taken this long, but again, just having a rough day sometimes I think is the key here. Okay, so let's do that. Let's bring everything back. There you go. Now this top part here, it's a little bit goofy because that thing we have going on here. That's okay. I'm just going to mask this off, invert the mask, and let's see if I can just deflate this in a little bit. You see we have some goofiness there because our groups are just not behaving. Okay, I just hit pause because I had a little bit of an issue with with something I had done before, so I'm just going to get out of that mode. We're fine now. I just one of those faces on the top here was part of a different group somehow, and it messed things up. Okay, so we have this piston-shaped thing. It's not gorgeous, but it doesn't need to be. We just need to have something that is cylindrical. We're going to have a couple little spheres on each side when we actually put it in place. So let's put it in place. I'm going to go to my rotate tool and start rotating it back. And you can see I might need to adjust it a little bit here. Might not be perfection, but it's going to be darn close to where we want it. Go to our move tool here and just scale this up basically until it goes to where we want it to go. And rotate and just pop this into place. Now what this is going to attach to is, this is one of those, it's one of those great mysteries. We'll attach it to something. I'll attach it to another cylinder in here, essentially have it, or I'm sorry, a cylindrical connector here. And we can just pop that in there. So what I'm going to do is, let's turn off polyframe here. And essentially it doesn't really matter what we attach it to. I'm going to attach it to this, and you can see the rotation wise, let's make sure this is actually in that receptor there. There we go. Okay, so where this actually connects to, it doesn't really matter. If I have this selected here and go to my insert mesh brush, I can insert this into a coupling, into something that we made. So I'm going to go to insert body parts, which is weird, I know, but I want to just simply replace this with something. Okay, not the insert human insert cube, something with a shape. I can now basically find any piece I want to insert and replace that. So I'm going to go to my Polymesh 3D real fast, and I'm going to import one of our little Maya things we had made, and that was, I think, the coupling. Let me see, where do we find this? Let's go to our guys here. Okay, I'm going to go to my hose port, which I think was what I wanted. Yeah, there's that hose port, which I think was actually kind of a cool thing. I'm also going to import the coupling, just so that we have what to choose from. And that, that might be better for this, either way. But what I want to do now is go back to my guy, and with my insert cube brush, again, I just went to my insert brush. I think I hit the insert body parts, but I wanted to hit the insert cube. And you can go under brush here and scroll down to surfaces, modifiers, I'm sorry, and you can click on this brush and just change that mesh to whatever you want. So do I want this thing to go into a coupling or the hose port? Probably the coupling, but just for fun, I'm going to choose the hose port for now and see how that looks. So I have my insert mesh brush here, and I'm just going to draw out this hose port. And the cool part, of course, is that I can now adjust the positioning of this however I want to. So let's just rotate this around. Which one do I want to go in this way? And I think this might actually look pretty cool snugged into this little area here. It just implies that there's a, it's on the outside of this this mesh. It's accepting the whatever that is, the piston, I think I called it. Let's call it a piston. And let's put this in place here. Make sure we're happy with the placement of it. Maybe bring it forward a little bit. I have to rotate it down so that it accepts the piston correctly. Maybe not quite so much. I'm just going to maybe bring it like this, and that looks like it should do the job. Is it exactly flush with the leg? No, but this guy is going to be very heavily armed. I would not tell him that. I'm going to do the same thing down here. So let's once again draw That's not the way to do it. Let's try it again. Let's draw our coupling here. What happens with the insert mesh brush is if you draw and then move the mouse back again, or move the stylus back again, and start moving it around, you kind of play around with the dimensions, which of course is not always what you want. If you hear a strange mewling noise, that is because one of my assistants in the office, by which I mean one of my cats, is awaking, and she makes noise. So let's scale this down, and this is going to be essentially the other side of this piston situation. I keep calling it a piston. I really hope that's what it is. Otherwise, I don't have to go back and change every single time I say this. Alrighty, so we have it basically in place. I can always move the piston as well. I think the piston could stand to be rotated a touch, but you get the idea. So we have this piston attached to this cylinder. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause. I'm going to stop this video here, go back and basically duplicate this stuff to the two sides. And when we come back in the next video, we're going to do the actual claw part for the 3 toes. And then we'll move on to the back one, which is the biggie. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video.